and Tracy and I are committed to doing that. And that's why we continue to be out talking, working with Kansans today and every day, even while we resolve this issue.
Governor, the final certification is done by the State Board of Canvassers, which includes the governor and the Secretary of State. Should the two of you recuse yourselves from that process?
At this point, we're just trying to get the first count. Let's get the first data out there. Let's make sure every legitimate vote is out there.
Governor, when you look at this, I know you don't really want to talk about the recount, which is a matter of policy. I mean, Kobach, as Secretary of State, would set the price for a recount for you or for himself even. The idea that he said today he will not recuse himself from a recount. Policy-wise, how do you feel about those two comments?
My focus is we got to get this first count right. And, we have 105 counties that are going to be canvassing next week. And as we're looking at this, of course, we'll look forward, and then we'll see what happens after that. It's too soon to have that speculation.
Well, I know you had an email today talking about, to supporters, and there was a fundraising note at the bottom of that.
Yeah.
What would that money be going to?
We're working for the general election. And so we've started that process. This is going to be a piece of that process overall. But that was we were planning on soliciting today for the general election, and we're continuing our plans.
The Secretary had actually mentioned when it comes down to the provisional ballots that the trend is whoever's in the lead generally stays with the lead. But do you think that provisional ballots will go in your favor?
There are provisional ballots as well as mail-in ballots there, and this is an extremely tight race. And we really believe that many of those provisional ballots will go our way, that they are supporters of ours that need to get counted.
Governor, what are your thoughts about how slowly things went in Johnson County? I know the Secretary of State says he has full confidence in the election commissioner. Do you have confidence in him and in the process?
I know Ronnie Metzger. He's a good man. I've known him for a long time. We're focusing on, let's go. That's just a preliminary count. We want to make sure that we get that first count and get that done.
So, there is the need of unification of the GOP. Do you have the impression that the party is divided right now?
We've had a primary that's had a lot of discussion out there. But as Republicans, we really can move forward. It's about growing the economy. It's about dealing with education issues. It's about making sure we have a good budget that is fiscally sound. I think Kansans want to move forward, and I'm certain that we're going to be able to do that. And I think Chris is going to work hard on it as well.
Governor, there was obviously a lot of people in this race. Jim Barnett, Ken Selzer, in your ad, you said a vote for them is a vote for Chris Kobach. Together, they took in 20% of the votes. All the teenagers taking 1%. Is there any thoughts from you about how this crowded field is playing a role in how this election is down to 200 votes?
Sure. Now, everybody has a right to run in this election, but our focus is what's happened has happened. What we're doing is we're looking forward here, and we've got to go and deal with the canvas and continue this process and go forward on that. I look forward to everybody being unified, all of the candidates that were on the ballot. I look forward to them being unified and helping us win in November. So,
yep. About a canvas of 105 counties. Most of these counties it's the 3 county commissioners, the 1 guy from the newspaper, maybe a radio station. That's all that's usually in the room. Are you planning on having representatives in the individual county rooms as they canvass, find out what results are for provisional ballots, things like that?
We're going through that process right now. We don't know when each of these meetings are going to be held or anything like that at this point. So,
do you make the case that it could be in the best interest of the party, whether it's you coming on the short end or Kobach, to have some sort of a recount?
No, we got to get the first count. We have to get the first count before we even talk about a recount. We got to get the proper canvass done. It's a process. All of these numbers always change, overnight. And then when you come to the final canvassing, then you go through that process. Let's let the process continue. Let's let the process go on and do what it's supposed to do.
Thanks,
everybody. Thank you all.
If any of you didn't get the email that was sent out, I'll go back to it and have it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to News Now, part of Fox10Phoenix.com. Pilar Arias here with ya. Air quality improving slightly here in the Valley of the Sun, but still not as great as we'd like. All right, everybody, I'm going to show you something now that I was trying to show you twice earlier this morning during Fox 10 Extra from 10 a.m. to noon on Channel 45, Cable 9. But due to breaking news, we had to cut off of it. Let's head on over to Charlotte, North Carolina, where police are extremely concerned about recent shootings.
Topics in our get-togethers, and there's probably no more important topic, no more urgent topic issue than what we're going to discuss this morning. I want to kind of set a table, if I could. Shooting into occupied dwellings, you know, it's a term that's thrown out in the vernacular here in the police department and law enforcement, but what does that really mean? Well, break it down into layman's terms. It means that someone's home, someone's car, someone's business has been shot into, and when that occurs, there's someone in there at the time. I want to talk this morning about the number 305. 305 times so far this year, we've had a shooting into an occupied dwelling. Overwhelming majority of those 305 occasions were into somebody's home. These are homes that are unintended targets at times, that are just catching these stray bullets. And it's not just homes. You know, you just go back to several weeks ago, you had a 6-year-old little girl on Sunstone Drive riding her bicycle in front of her home with her little sister who was on a scooter. Their home was fired at 7:30 at night on a Saturday night. She winds up getting shot in the leg. We have to run out there and apply a tourniquet to save this little girl's life. Riding a bike in front of her own home on a Saturday night with her little sister. Rewind a couple of weeks prior to that. Right, go back to May. East Charlotte, 12-year-old little boy listening to music in his bedroom, sitting on his bed. He shot from a stray round after shooting it to his home. Officers raced out there, apply a tourniquet, save his life. 305 times so far this year, right? As troubling as that is, it's even more troubling and frustrating to know that there are times when we don't get the level of cooperation needed to help us resolve some of these, right? It's a big deal. These are people's homes. It's where people live, where children play. I got Sergeant Steve Fishback with me, been with the department for a long time. He's going to talk in just a couple of minutes about some things that are being done to address this. Because, you know, naturally, when you guys hear about the issue, the natural question is, well, what the hell are you guys doing about it? Well, we're doing a lot. And we have been doing a lot recently to try to get some resolution, to try to bring this kind of behavior down. But I'm going to be quite honest with you, as we all stand here today, we just can't do it alone. And that's what Steve Fishback's going to talk about. Talk about the work that we're doing to get our arms around this. More importantly, what the community can do to help us in that larger endeavor. Sergeant Steve Fishback.
Thank you, Rob. I'm Steve Fishback. I'm a sergeant with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, and I've been on the department over 15 years now, with most of my time spent in felony investigations. The rest of that time spent in patrol, boots on the street, where the rubber meets the road. But we're not here to talk about me. We'll just take a look at this picture. What we're looking at is, the first one is over 60 shell casings. 60 fired shell casings. But we're not talking about Beirut. We're not talking about a third world country. We're talking about Charlotte, North Carolina. More specifically, a neighborhood in West Charlotte. And this isn't a rundown shack. This is any neighborhood, Charlotte, North Carolina. We're talking about regular neighborhood. This could be my neighborhood or yours. And we're talking about 60 shots fired. Indiscriminately. Those bullets don't have names. They don't have GPS. We're talking about over 300 cases that have happened in this calendar year alone. And with roughly half of those cases taking place in the North Division, the Freedom Division, and the Metro Division. But it is a problem across the whole jurisdiction. There's a lot of challenges with these type cases. When people's homes are getting shot into like this, the last thing they're doing is grabbing a piece of paper and a pen to write down tag numbers or descriptions. No, they're hitting the floor to make sure they keep their families and themselves safe. So that's a challenge. Another challenge that we're facing is that the people who are shooting back and forth at each other all too often don't want to cooperate. They'd rather settle things their way, themselves, in the street. And perhaps one of the most troubling things that we find a challenge with are that the people who aren't involved whatsoever and that have really good intentions and want to work with us, they're too afraid to do.
All right, everybody. Vice President Mike Pence is arriving in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're going to stream it live here on News Now, part of fox10phoenix.com, and then we will return. It'll be for the, I don't know, third or fourth time for the day. We'll return back to Charlotte and try to wrap up with that news conference there.
Sounds good.
Still on.
Atra's talking over our live.
Judy and James are on the
Thank you. Atra's talking over this, though. So stay on it, because Atra's still talking over this.
Vice President Mike Pence will be speaking tonight at a Michigan Republican Party unity event right there in Grand Rapids. That's going to be at 6:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 here. So since the stream ends at 4 o'clock Arizona time, we should have at least a portion of that, if not in its entirety. Remember, here on News Now, we are now a part of Fox 10 Extra News at 7, as well as our new 10:30 newscast on Fox 10. So when you see things look a little differently, it's because we're preparing for those newscasts.
the people who aren't involved whatsoever and that have really good intentions and want to work with us, they're too afraid to do so. So that fear, again, we're not talking about in a third world country. We're talking about in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're talking about normal people, normal families. So what are we doing about it? 2 weeks ago, we started a task force. A task force made up of talent from the divisions, taking division detectives in those mostly affected divisions, and bringing all these cases together to identify what's going on here and what's contributing to this problem. From there, we brought in detectives from the gang unit. We have collaborated with the homicide division on cases that are bleeding over into their realm. We are working with division crime reduction units, partnering with the DA's office, Mecklenburg County DA's office, as well as the U.S. Attorney's office. And then also bringing our crime lab, CMPD crime lab, into the effort as well. So with that, we are still doing the same work that we were before this task force got started. My detectives, our crime reduction units, they're doing the same thing they were before, but with that, we're taking all the information and intelligence that we can gather off these cases, and we are using all that information to identify persons whose criminal behavior is contributing to this problem, and we're targeting those individuals. And we're throwing all the resources that we have towards those individuals. And with that, in a 2-week period, we have seen an amount of success. The task force, and again, this is a big task force. This isn't Steve and a few detectives. This is Steve with a lot of heroic work being done by crime reduction units, the boots on the ground, going after some very dangerous people. In 2 weeks, they've made 9 arrests and seized 7 guns. We're very early on. I don't want to get into specifics because what we're also looking at is how early on we are with this. We're investigating groups as a whole, groups at large. So if I were to give out very specifics in terms of individuals and locations of where we made those arrests and under what circumstances, it would tip our hand to those groups and reduce our effectiveness in investigating them. So with that, do I have any questions right now?
Steve, before you get going, Sarge, I know there was also some information you wanted to release concerning our efforts with communicating with the Crime Stoppers Board and what we need from the public right now?
Correct. So I just spoke about the things that the police department and the Mecklenburg County DA's office and the U.S. Attorney's office are doing, and we're all working together. But this isn't a police problem. This isn't a prosecution problem. This is a City of Charlotte problem. This is your neighborhood. We cannot do this alone. We have to have the cooperation of the community. And that takes the form of information. You know your neighborhoods better than we do. You know what stands out. You know what's normal. We have to have that information coming from the community. That can be a 911 call for service. That can be an anonymous call for service, giving us that information. We also have Crime Stoppers. You can make completely anonymous tips, and Crime Stoppers has been gracious enough to double the reward to $2,000 for information that leads to an SIOD arrest. Completely anonymous.
Are we talking about, you said groups, are we talking about traditional gangs, or are we talking about loose affiliations of folks?
Well, Glenn, I think you just hit the nail on the head when you talk about traditional gangs versus loose affiliation of groups. It's my experience in 15 years, particularly the last few years, the lines of a gang are blurred. You know, what defines that now? But what I can certainly speak to is this is very much so gang-like behavior, gang-like activity. And what I mean by that is we see crimes ranging from drugs, moving firearms, as well as organized fraud and shoplifting, organized shoplifting as well.
Are these guys kind of fighting over turf, and maybe not necessarily from the traditional sense, but they are rivals with somebody trying to sell the same merchandise or whatever?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I would say what's driving a lot of this are problems between individuals that could be as minor as an insult on social media that leads to a physical fight at school, that escalates to one shooting, that turns into a retaliatory shooting. I wish I had a better rhyme or reason for you, Glenn, but really, a lot of this stuff, even after 15 years, really surprises me in terms of the root cause of what leads to this.
Do you have any estimate or any numbers about how many of the suspects are teenagers in these cases?
I would say an overwhelming majority. The age range we're seeing are from ages surrounding 14 years old into the early 20s, but definitely a majority of teenagers.
So you matched up the spent shell casings and/or bullets to weapons possessed by suspects?
So that is speaking generally, that is an effort that we'll be making. Again, we are 2 weeks into this. It takes our crime lab time to do that kind of analysis, and I don't want to speak in regards to specific cases as well. Due to these all being fresh cases, they're
monitoring the fire behavior and conditions associated with the whole incident. We have ground resources, hand crews, bulldozers, and air assets currently assigned. At this time, we have activated a joint information center here at the Orange County headquarters, where we're providing information to the public as needed. The phone number there is area code 714-573-6200. Speaking of the evacuations, the community of El Carrizo Village has just recently been ordered under mandatory evacuation. The OCFA, in closing, maintains a strong relationship with our federal and state partners. We're grateful for the quick response of all of our partner agencies, along with the arrest that you'll soon be learning about. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Shane Sherwood. I'm the battalion chief here at Orange County Fire. I'm the chief investigator and here to speak on behalf of the arrest of 51-year-old Forrest Clark. Orange County investigators assisted U.S. Forest Service. They were the lead investigators in this case, along with OCSD, the Orange County Sheriff Department, and the Orange County District Attorneys. This partnership and this collaboration is what brought Forrest Clark into our custody, and through the witness statements that we received and the physical findings that we found out at the fire. And I'll let the Orange County District Attorney speak to the charges that he is facing.
Thank you. I want to thank the firefighting professionals in the Forest Service and the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Arson is a terrible crime that destroys dreams, and not only even when people are not physically hurt, it could destroy that baby blanket that you held that still smells like your kid, or that family portrait of your grandparents getting married. So it's obviously an extremely serious crime. We will be getting this case later this afternoon. We've been working with the Sheriff's Department and the firefighting professionals. We're anticipating filing 1 count of aggravated arson with enhancement that it affected multiple structures, 1 count of criminal threats, and 2 count of resisting an executive officer through force or threats. And those charges carries a life sentence. And we anticipate the defendant to be arraigned tomorrow morning, and that will be at Central County Jail. And we expect to bring him to justice for these terrible crimes. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Todd Spitzer. This is my supervisorial district, and I'm a member of the Orange County Fire Authority Board. Many of you know we just went through a terrible disaster in terms of the Canyon 1 and the Canyon 2 fire. We know this district burns, but it should never burn because of an intentional act. This shouldn't be called the Holy Jim Fire. This should be called the Holy Hell Fire. And the man that's been arrested, after he's prosecuted and tried in a court of law, and assuming and gratefully he'd be convicted if the evidence is proved beyond a reasonable doubt, which I have no doubt it will be, then he needs to suffer the fullest punishment of the law. This is a monster. Who would go out with low humidity and high wind and the highest heat temperatures this time of the year and intentionally set the forest on fire? I suppose if your name has forest in it, maybe that's not relevant to you. The irony here is not lost on me that his name is Forrest Gordon Clark, but he's literally destroyed our forest. So on behalf of both the men and women of the Orange County Fire Authority, the Fire Service, I want to thank you. In the District Attorney's Office, I want to thank you on behalf of my constituents, but my constituents are scared. They're fleeing their homes, they're leaving property behind, they're putting everything they can in the back of their cars as quickly as possible. On the other side, my old assembly district, Corona, they're threatened. Of course, Lake Elsinore. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible disaster. This is not the Holy Jim Fire. This is the Holy Hell Fire.
Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for your time this afternoon to give you all an update on the conditions here. In closing, I have an information line. As Chief Anderson had mentioned, there is a joint information center that has been established to provide members of the public with information on fire situation and where they can go in the event that an evacuation order is made. The phone numbers that they can call are going to be 714-573-6200, also 573-6202, and 573-6210. We've been fielding a lot of phone calls, and the one that is asked of us regularly is the fire close to us? Should we be prepared to evacuate? And the answer is yes. Even if you're miles away, you always want to be prepared if you are anywhere near the fire area or in an environment that can burn. So we strongly suggest that you have a go bag ready to go. And then also, if you are on a landline telephone at home, you will receive a reverse 911 call when, alerting you to evacuation orders. But in the event that you don't have a landline any longer, you're going to have to register for your county's alerting system. So it's going to be Alert OC for Orange County and Riverside County Alert. All right, so those are the two, and so that's for people with cell phones or VoIP or anything like that. So with that, I'll just open it up for a few questions here.
Shane, I don't know if this is for you or the sheriff's deputies, but you talked about physical evidence up at the cabin related to Mr. Clark. Can you go into more specific detail? Our understanding was that his cabin was maybe the only one left standing up there in Holy Jim.
Yeah, I can't speak to his cabin. I haven't physically been up there myself, so I can't speak to exactly that. But yeah, we go into physical findings that we find at the scene, and that's part of our work and how we build the case is through the witness statements, the physical findings, and through the fire burn patterns that we are able to work the case and come up to a conclusion as what that origin of cause is. And with that, the origin of cause of this fire is definitely an intentional act.
We have heard from neighbors as well as read reports that he made threats such as, I'm going to burn this place down. Have you been able to verify those claims?
So because this is a pending investigation, I can't comment on some of those. So unfortunately, I can't comment on that, but we're working through all those leads, and those are the things that the district attorney had spoken about, and we want to make sure that we have all the correct information and that those are found to be true, and but unfortunately, I cannot comment on those.
How do you believe the fire was started, though?
So we believe the fire is an intentional act. As far as exactly how it was started, we're still working through some of that evidence to to collaborate what we believe our hypothesis of how the fire started. So we're still working through that evidence, and with the physical findings and the witness statements, putting all that together, and that's still part of that pending investigation.
Has he admitted to anything?
As far as my understanding, he has not admitted to anything.
I think the question might be for Susan, but if you can answer it, great. If it comes to be that he made these threats and people knew about them, did they have a duty to report that?
Yeah, we can't comment on that. Anything else?
Bail?
$1 million.
And if you can't get specific about the evidence, can you tell us generally what was the evidence? Was it emails? Was it phone calls? Statements he made?
I'll answer that this way. Our strongest evidence is through our witness statements.
Can you expand on that a bit?
Because of the pending investigation, I'm not going to comment any further on that. One thing I guess I can tell you is that we don't feel that he's responsible for any other fires that we've had recently here in Orange County. We are continuing to look through that to see if there's anything else connected, but at this time we do not believe that he is responsible for any other fires.
Is he a part-time resident or a full-time resident?
My understanding, all folks that live in the forest are part-time.
He was arrested on Tuesday, but is it our understanding, we saw some video, maybe he was detained on Monday as well? Can you expand on that?
I cannot comment on that. I do not know.
Would there have been a reason to question and release him that first day?
We were not involved in the investigation or any part of it at that point, so I cannot comment on that.
Did you seize any physical evidence connected to the fire at his cabin?
We did.
Anything, the other part of the story that we're hearing is that he was either combative or he tried to fight back against the deputies. Anybody want to talk about that charge?
As has already been stipulated, hello, the question was with regards to was he combative or uncooperative with fire personnel or sheriff's personnel. My name is Jason Park. I'm a captain with the Orange County Sheriff's Department. The investigation is ongoing and very fluid. We can't comment specifically on his interaction with law enforcement or fire personnel. But that is in the area, the origin. There was various fire personnel that were up there, but with regards to specific, we can't comment on any of that. Thank you.
I'd just like to remind everybody that we still have an active fire out there. And as we stand here today, we're ordering mandatory evacuations for the following communities. And this is in Riverside County along the I-15 corridor. The community of Horse Thief, the community of Sycamore Creek, the community of Glen Ivy, the community of McVicker in the city of Lake Elsinore, and the community of Rancho Carrillo. That also is going to require us to close Highway 74. If you are in any of those communities and have received a reverse 911 notification, we need you to leave now. It is a mandatory order.
Chief, are you guys seeing some of that Elsinore effect that we discussed yesterday? Is that what is drawing some of the concern?
So yes, between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock daily, the Elsinore effect, the warm air over the lake rising is pulling down winds down slope. So that has been encouraging the fire to continue down canyon, down into the flats. So we have been experiencing that daily between 3 and 7.
Do you have a specific location you can give us as to where you think he started this fire? And were there witnesses to him starting it?
We don't have any witnesses that stated that they saw him start the fire, but as far as the area of origin is around and near his residence there in one of the cabins.
Very close to one of his residence?
Yes, that's correct.
Did he take any specific actions to preserve his residence as opposed to some of the others?
Again, I have not been up there, so I can't tell you. All I do know is that there's been several residents that have been damaged, and I'm not 100% sure that if his is intact or not.
Can you correct the numbers? We heard anywhere from 12 to 13 destroyed up there. Do you know now?
So there was 12 confirmed structures destroyed in the Holy Jim Canyon.
Out of 15, is that correct?
I don't know the total number in the canyon. There was 12 destroyed.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming to the press conference this afternoon. I'm going to draw this to a close, and have a good day.
All right, everybody, you just heard from authorities there in Irving, California. Pilar Arias here with you now. I'm going to provide you the update as to exactly what we know about the holy fire while I continue to show you the latest footage given to us this morning. A 51-year-old man is behind bars in connection with a fast-moving wildfire that has charred 4,129 acres in the Holy Jim Canyon area of the Cleveland National Forest. Forrest Gordon Clark was arrested yesterday and is being held in lieu of a $1 million bail. Now, that's according to jail records. The fire started Monday, but is only 5% contained as of this morning. A cause of the fire has not yet been determined. The Orange County Register reported that Clark lives in a cabin in the Holy Jim area. Volunteer Fire Chief Mike Milligan, who also lives in the area, told the paper that Clark has long feuded with a neighbor and other cabin owners. He ran through the area last week screaming and sent Milligan an email warning that, quote, "This place will burn," end quote. That is according to Milligan. Clark is tentatively scheduled to appear in court tomorrow. The holy fire is being fed by thick tinder dry brush that hasn't burned in nearly 4 decades. 2 firefighters have been treated for heat-related injuries, but that happened back on Monday. You just heard authorities say that they believe at this point 12 structures have been destroyed by the fire and a highway is closed. There's also mandatory evacuations in place. I will provide an update on Fox 10 Extra News at 7. You're watching News Now, part of Fox10Phoenix.com. Thank you to each and every one of you for being with us. All right, everybody, we are expecting some monsoon activity later this evening here in the Phoenix area. Again, you are watching News Now, part of Fox10Phoenix.com. If anything breaks, we'll have you covered. Meanwhile, we're going to continue to watch our mountain cam here in Phoenix for just a little bit as I prepare some coverage for Fox 10 Extra News at 7 and our new 10:30 newscast on Fox 10.
Here, Reverend J. Turner from IMF is here, of course, President NAACP Nashville, Ludy's here. Their attorney is Joy Kimbrough, of course, the mother, and the family is here. I'm going to read you a statement, and then I'm going to let Gil Silva say something. I don't think she wants to answer a lot of questions, but she'll answer a few questions for you, okay? So we need to begin so we can get out of here. This morning we had the opportunity to view a new video footage of the shooting of Daniel Hambrick, along with his mother and family. We've concluded that Officer Andrew Delpy did not have justification to fire his weapon at Mr. Hambrick. We now demand that Officer Andrew Delpy be relieved of duty and charged with murder of Daniel Hambrick immediately. We're also asking the FBI Special Agent in charge, Richard Baer, to immediately begin a civil rights investigation to ensure that all evidence is secured and that a fair and transparent investigation is completed. Lastly, we're asking the FBI conduct a review of the Metro Davidson Police Department to ensure that this never happens again. We ask that the community remain hopeful and that justice be served and that the truth will be revealed. Okay, we'll take a couple questions.
Miss Vicki, how are you?
Pretty good.
I'm so sorry for your loss, ma'am. What do you want the people to know about your son, ma'am?
He was a great child. I kept him in church, and I kept him in sports. I kept him in big brothers and big sisters, and I had a big family played a part with me. My family and his side of his family, his father, now played a part. I just want justice for my son. That's all I'm asking. And for all the young guys and young women, I want justice for them. I love them all. I do. From the bottom of my heart, I love them all. And I know they love me, but I just don't want them to do nothing crazy. But I love them all because it's going to be served.
Miss Vicki, what do you want to tell the police chief of Nashville here?
I want an apology, and something had to be done about this because I'm very hurt about my son. And I just want justice for my son and my family.
Can you tell us how you felt and what went through your head the first time you saw that video?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about that. I'm Joy Kimbrough, and I'm representing Ms. Hambrick. Today was the first time she was able to see the video of where her son was actually murdered, gunned down. She was invited, and we all went to the district attorney's office this morning to view the video before it was released to the public. Now, she was viewing the video of her only child, Daniel. And what we were able to see today for the first time was there was no traffic stop. When police first see Daniel, he's outside of the vehicle. I don't even think he's close to the car. Daniel runs, which is still not illegal. You can run. He's running, police officers chasing. Well, the police officer chases him. The police officer chases him with his gun drawn. He chases him, and at some point he slows down and executes him. He shoots him repeatedly from behind. He shoots him in the back of his head. In the back of his head. I was able to see that picture. They shot him in the back. The police officer fired 4 times. 3 of those bullets ripped Daniel apart. He fell to the ground where he was cuffed and left there like a dog, worse than a dog. He was left there until the ambulance arrived sometimes later. I'd also like to clear up that there was no stolen car. In the beginning, there was talk of a stolen car. The car he was in belonged to this young lady right here, a friend of the family. That was not true, that he was in any type of stolen car. She took it hard. She took it hard, as anyone would. She took it hard. Mrs. Hambrick took it hard when she saw her only child gunned down. She took it hard. So that's to answer your question. She took it very hard. I don't even think she was able to finish watching it because it was so horrible. So I hope that answers your question.
Is there a response to Mayor David Riley calling for patience in the community? Is there a response to his statements today?
You know, I guess he does what he has to do. He's a politician. But the proof is out there. You got the video. I mean, I don't know what else they'll be waiting on. But I hope that they do what is right. I hope that justice is done. If I'm a criminal defense attorney, if there's ever a case of premeditated first-degree murder, this is it. This is it. He stops and takes his time and makes sure he gets a good shot. And he does get a good shot. He gets 3 good shots. And, of course, Daniel is deceased now.
Did Daniel and the officer know one another before that at all, that you know of?
No.
And did you have an opportunity to speak with the district attorney today?
We did.
What, can you share any piece of that conversation?
Well, Mr. Funk just let us know that there is a process that we would have to wait until they complete their investigation. But I'm hopeful that he would do the right thing. If this murderer is not charged, then there's no hope. No one will ever be charged if he's not in charge in this instance.
And did he share with you how long he thinks that investigation might take? I mean, I know it can take a
If he did, I don't remember.
He said 2 to 3 weeks.
From now?
Yeah, from now, 2 weeks from now, what he said that would be done with it. But I guess my response to Mayor Briley and to Chief Anderson both, I think they both need to get together tonight and they need to look at that video together. And I think they need to agree that the LP needs to be fired tonight. His gun and badge should be taken away from him immediately. He should not be anywhere. What Briley said today, I don't think covered anybody. Because what you're doing is you're avoiding the issue. The issue is that Metropolitan Police are not trained to handle people all throughout the city. They don't know what to do when people run. They don't know what to do when they can't see people's hands. They don't know what to do when they don't understand who they are. Metropolitan Police Department is going to have to be thoroughly retrained. And thoroughly retrained is that the city of Nashville is not a combat zone. I am a Vietnam veteran. I know what you do in the combat zone. You see something move, you shoot it. This is not Vietnam, it's not Iraq, it's not Afghanistan. And so from that standpoint, we need to go back and retrain these guys. Some of them need psychological testing. We need to redo this police force because what we've seen in the last 18 months is just wrong. It's just utterly wrong. And NOCP is not going to come with it.
Ms. Hambrick, we know that PD is, planning just in case for protests and rallies tonight or the next few days. Is there any message to the public?
Well, I can answer that for her. She just, she just wants justice for her son. That's the main thing. She don't want anybody out here acting crazy or nothing like that about it. Just want justice,
violence,
no violence
protest.
or nothing like that, Just if they're gonna protest peaceful, and just justice for our son, Every time we look around over the states, every time we look around, we hear about a young black man being shot down. And it's happening over and over again. Regardless if he had a record or drugs or whatever, doesn't give him the right, hey, he's a convicted felon, shoot him down. It's going to be okay. Because it's not. It's not. And so we just want justice, and it's all we fighting for, okay?
Basically, at the end of the day, we got the video. It speaks for itself. We leave it up to the courts now. We just want justice. And for the sake of our family, no violence. No violence. It's going smooth right now. We got everything we need. Thank you.
And one other thing I'd like to add. Nowhere in the world I could see a police could be in any threat if the young man is running away. If I'm running away from you, how can I be a threat to you? I don't care if I have a hand grenade in my pocket. If I'm running away, I can't be a threat to you. He was shot down like an animal. And we just want justice.
I think the worst part for me is just to see him stand there, aim,
take aim,
and fire. That was what was hard for me.
They shooting to kill.
They were shooting to kill. He had intentions on killing him when he got out the car and ran after him. And people are so quick to say, oh, well, he's a convicted. You didn't know he was a felon until after this. He was just a young black man.
Yeah.
He was getting ready to start a job on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And now he can't even do that. His life is over. That is his mother's only child. Her only child, and now he is gone. He is gone, and that's what people need to understand. She lost a child. My aunt is legally blind, and he helped her. Now, I mean, she has us, but he was her number one. And people have to understand that. This is terrible. My daughter is now thinking that the police is the enemy. She thinks the police is the enemy. To where if something goes wrong, she doesn't know whether to, call 911 or just hope and pray that whatever it is goes away. This is ridiculous, and it makes no sense. You can see my cousin running for his life. There's no way that he is a threat. No way. And for the media to make up lies about him being in a stolen car or he was aiming at a gun at a police officer is absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. And we do want justice served for him. Did not deserve it at all.
Yes.
Dominic, can you have these folks just help us identify who they were, just so we get your name right and spelling? Sir, can you just tell us who you are?
Hey, I'm Vicky's brother, Sam Hambrick, and Daniel's uncle.
Yes, sir.
And I'm Sam Hambrick III.
It's my son.
It's my father, and that's my auntie Vicky.
And I'm Dominique Appleton. I'm her niece as well.
It's justice. That's all we ask.
Justice. Justice.
And I just ask for one more thing. Please, please leave my family alone. Just please leave my family alone. That's what I'm asking. My daddy, my sister don't deserve this. Please leave us alone. Just leave us alone. Please, that's all I'm asking. That's all I'm
One of the reasons
asking.
we're having this news conference today is because you've been trying for the last 2 weeks to get a hold of her. She does not want to talk. They need the time to grieve. They need time to get themselves together. So this is your opportunity. We're giving you opportunity. So from here on out, we ask that you stay far away. You don't need to ask the question or anything else. What's going to happen is going to happen. In 2 or 3 weeks, okay, you'll hear more from us. So we appreciate it if you can, at least understand her hurt and give her some comfort by leaving her be. Everything else? What's other questions? I appreciate all of you coming.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Kimbrough. Vic? Ludi? All right. Good to see you.
Over and over. Hey. Like they don't. It's crazy. They need to hear it's crazy. It's kind of burying their baby over and over.
District.
Election Day to say that now that the party has chosen, we are going to decide here and now that Republicans are going to come together with people all across the state of Michigan, and we're going to elect Bill Schuette as the next governor, and we're going to send John James to the United States Senate. You know, the truth is we made history in 2016. We saw that blue wall crumble right here in Michigan. And I'm here to tell you, right here, right now, come November, the red wave is coming right through Michigan. I want to thank some great friends who are here. Ronna McDaniel, where is she? I hope Michigan is as proud as Republicans all over America, the national chairman of the Republican Party. Give Ronna a big round of applause. To your Republican chairman, Ambassador Ron Weiser, to Congressman Tim Walberg, Senate Majority Leader Arlen Meekhoff, and the Speaker of the House, Tom Leonard, this is a great turnout of Republican leadership across Michigan, and it's a great way to start a 90-day march to victory. Thank you all. And I especially want to take a moment to congratulate all the candidates from the races in yesterday's primary. You know, one of the signs of a strong party is competitive primaries that attract strong candidates and strong campaigns. And I want to express personally my appreciation to Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley and Sandy Pensler for being here with us today and standing for Republican victory in 2018. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Calley, a strong conservative, a family man, a man of deep conviction and faith, the job that he's done for the people of Michigan and for laying a foundation for a brighter future for all the people of this state. Brian, thank you so much for your service to the people of Michigan. I also want to thank Sandy Pensler for being here tonight. Sandy's a lifelong Michigander, an entrepreneur, started a business right out of college. He's been creating jobs all across this state ever since. He stepped forward to serve this state, and it's because he loves Michigan. So Sandy Pensler, thank you for being here today and standing for victory for Republicans in Michigan. We're here today because Michigan has an extraordinary opportunity to elect leadership at the state level and at the federal level. It's going to keep Michigan moving in the right direction and keep our nation moving in the right direction. And I have to tell you, President Trump and I couldn't be more proud to support Bill Schuette and John James for office all across the state of Michigan. Couldn't be more proud. I mean, these are two special people who bring extraordinary experience and background to their candidacies, and they've already ignited the enthusiasm of people across this state and, frankly, across America. The truth is, you know, frankly, Michigan's on a roll, and the Republican Party has been leading the way. And you think about it, Michigan has a Republican governor, a Republican House, a Republican Senate, a Republican Attorney General, and for the first time in 30 years, Michigan voted to elect a Republican president of the United States of America, and we're going to stay on a roll. And we're going to stay on a roll when we elect another great Republican governor from Michigan, and when finally Michigan sends a common-sense conservative champion to the United States Senate in John James. Now, We've got great momentum in Michigan. We've got great momentum all across America because, quite frankly, the leadership that Michigan supported at the national level has set this country on a path for more security and more prosperity. We're making America safe again. We're making America prosperous again. It's because President Donald Trump has been keeping the promises that he made to the people of Michigan every day since he took office. It's true. It's true. I mean, this president promised to rebuild our military, restore the arsenal of democracy. And earlier this year, the president signed the largest increase in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. We are finally giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard the resources and support they deserve. This president promised to stand with the men and women who serve in law enforcement at every level. And since early in this administration, this president has stood without apology with the men and women who serve on the thin blue line, and that includes the courageous men and women of Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. And this president's actually signed more legislation repealing federal red tape than any president in American history. And right before Christmas, just in case you didn't notice, President Trump kept one of the biggest promises he made to the American people when he signed the largest tax cut and tax reform in American history. That's promises made and promises kept. And we've only been able to do it because of strong partners and strong partnerships. And I want to thank a couple people who are here today. Congressman Tim Walberg and Congressman Bill Huizenga. Would you give them a big round of applause for being such great partners? I also want to say this is an administration that believes in state-based leadership, innovation, and reform. And let me just take this moment to thank Governor Rick Snyder for his devotion and the progress that he's made for the people of Michigan. But you know, to continue this progress in the state of Michigan, we've got to continue. We've got to continue to elect leaders at every level that will support the agenda and the vision that President Trump brought to our nation's capital. And the truth of the matter is, Republicans have got to come together. That really is what tonight is all about. All the candidates left it all on the field. The people of Michigan in both parties have chose their standard bearers. And tonight we send a message all across the state of Michigan that Republicans are united to bring a victory to the State House and to the United States Senate and all across the board. And the two candidates who are with us today are truly special. Bill Schuette's led a life defined by service. He and his wife still live in the small town where he was born in Midland, Michigan. He partnered with my second favorite president. Many years ago, cutting taxes spurred economic opportunity back in the 1980s, and ever since then. He's gone on to support people of Michigan, fight for families, and he served with great distinction as your Attorney General over the last 8 years. Bill Schuette will be a jobs governor, and the people across Michigan are going to stand with this good man come November, and so will we. And John James, someone who I had the opportunity to meet not too long ago. He's captured the imagination of people across this state, and quite frankly, more than a few people all across the country. And there's no real surprise. He actually signed up for the Armed Forces of the United States at the age of 17. He served in the military during Operation Iraqi Freedom. He logged nearly 750 hours in the cockpit of an Apache attack helicopter, came back with a Combat Action Badge and 2 Air Medals. After that, he came home to Michigan to run his family's business, and he's created more than 100 good-paying jobs. President Trump and I were proud to stand with him. As the President said, John James is strong on crime and borders, loves our militaries and our vets and our Second Amendment, and he's going to be an exceptional representative for Michigan in the United States Senate. But you know, elections are about choices. And the choice really couldn't be more clear. You almost could just describe the background of your candidate for governor and your candidate for the United States Senate, and we'd be done. We'd leave here today as a united Republican Party and just go to work telling their story. The truth of the matter is, people of Michigan face a choice this fall, and we've got to make sure that they understand that choice. When it comes to the governor's race, Bill Schuette's opponent has a record. It's a record at the State House. She actually voted against hiring more state troopers. She actually supports abolishing immigrations and customs enforcement. And let me make you a promise. Under this administration, we will never abolish ICE. We're going to stand with those men and women every day. Gretchen Whitmer actually wants to repeal Michigan's right-to-work laws, and during her tenure at the State House, she had a history of raising taxes. In fact, she voted to raise your taxes by more than $1 billion. Truth of the matter is, Bill Schuette's opponent will take Michigan off the path of prosperity, and Michigan Republicans aren't going to let it happen. We're going to elect Bill Schuette as the next great governor of the state of Michigan. And the choice is just as clear when it comes to your candidate for the United States Senate. The truth of the matter is, Senator Debbie Stabenow. Senator Debbie Stabenow has been opposing everything President Trump and I have been advancing since the first day that Michigan voted to make President Trump the 45th President of the United States. I mean, it's really remarkable when you think about it. When it came time to cut your taxes, Debbie voted no. When it came time to vote to build a border wall, secure our border, and give us internal security and border enforcement, Debbie Stabenow voted no. When it came time to repeal and replace Obamacare, Debbie voted no. Even when it came time to empower states like Michigan with the authority to defund the largest abortion provider in America, Debbie Stabenow voted no. Even on Judge Brett Kavanaugh, who is an extraordinary jurist and will make a great justice on the Supreme Court of the United States, Debbie Stabenow already said that she'd vote no. Already said she'd vote no on Judge Kavanaugh. Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I think we got to decide here and now, tonight, the day after primary election day, that Michigan is going to say no to 6 more years of Senator Debbie Stabenow. So we've got a choice before us. One is to think you've done your part. Primary's over, and so now the election is just going to run its course, and the other part is to unite and fight. Unite and fight. And that's what I'm here to challenge you to do, and I'm here to promise you that President Trump and I, our entire team, are going to be standing with Michigan every step of the way. And the truth is, we've made incredible progress. We've made incredible progress as a country. You've made incredible progress as a state, but it's been because you've been willing to stand together and support leadership that puts into practice those common sense principles that have always made this country great and will make this country great and prosperous and strong again. My word to each and every one of you is, now's the time. You know, the President and I often talk about it, that for the party that's in the White House, these midterm elections are historically kind of a tough time. I mean, actually, I think there's only 2 instances in the last 100 years where our party gained seats during a midterm election when we had a Republican in the White House. I mean, the conventional wisdom is that it's going to be a tough year for Republicans here in Michigan and elsewhere. But I think you all know what President Donald Trump thinks of conventional wisdom. We made history in 2016 in Michigan, and we're going to make history in 2018 when we elect another great Republican governor and when we send John James to the United States Senate. So my challenge to all of you today, and I look forward to saying hello to you as many of you as time permits, is to leave here today with a burden on your heart. I know a lot of you are probably tired after that primary's over, but I like what Bill Schuette said to me a few minutes ago. He said, I took a 90-second break, and now I'm on a 90-day sprint. You ought to have the same attitude. Leave here tonight, reach out to your neighbors and friends, talk to them about not just these two remarkable candidates, but talk to them about what Republican leadership's been doing for Michigan and for this country. Talk to them about how important it is that you keep Michigan on its present course and heading at the state level, and how important it'll be to have a strong conservative senator from Michigan in the United States Senate. Go out and tell your neighbors and friends. You know, I'll always be convinced that all the talking heads on TV in the world, all the newspaper editorials, all the online stories and social media don't matter a hill of beans compared to when someone who knows you and respects you hears from you about an issue or a candidate that you think is important to the life of this community, this state, or this nation. So I want you to leave here today, and I want you to reach out. And tell somebody about Bill Schuette and John James. Tell them about the caliber of these candidates. Tell them about the clarity of the choice that's before us. I mean, say, I was in Grand Rapids the other day, and I ran into Mike. And he told me we can absolutely elect another Republican governor in Michigan, and we can elect a Republican senator to Washington, D.C. from the Great Lakes State. You go tell him. Tell him I said so. And my last word to each and every one of you as you leave here tonight is just also have faith. You know, Michigan believed in what was possible in 2016. The people of Michigan came by. I'll never forget the night I was on the eve of the election. It was so late it turned into the election day. Maybe some of you were there. Right here in Grand Rapids. What a day. I remember I looked at my watch. When I stepped out and I said, it's 12:01, it's election day, the day that we're going to elect a Republican president of the United States. It was inspiring. I saw the energy, the enthusiasm. And what I want to encourage you to do is have that same faith right now. You know, there's that verse in the old book that says that faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. So leave here today with assurance and with conviction. Don't listen to the pollsters and the pundits who tell you one thing or another about these various races. Just know Michigan did it in 2016, and Michigan can do it again in 2018 and elect the kind of leadership that'll move our country and our state forward. So have faith. Have faith in these two great leaders that I've spoken of here tonight, because they're very special men with very special families. Have faith in the leadership that you sent to Washington, D.C., and that president that I serve with every day, and these great Republican majorities in the Congress that deserve your renewed support. Have faith in the great leaders at the state level who served this state so well with such distinction, who created opportunities that's revived this economy. 3.7 million new jobs since Election Day. Manufacturers coming back. I mean, the truth is we see companies moving back into America and back into Michigan because of the leadership and the vision that Michigan supported in 2016. And we've got to keep pushing forward and have faith we can do it again. As you talk to your neighbors and friends, have faith in them too. Whatever their politics in the past, just reach out to them and say, you know, I met this Bill Schuette, I met this John James, and they're special people. And they deserve your support. And Michigan deserves the benefit of their leadership. And lastly, I'd encourage you, as I know it's important to Bill and to John and to their families and to mine, to have that other kind of faith. As we continue to trust
in he who was with the people that carved this state out of the wilderness so many years ago. That with that faith grounded in him, in this one nation under God, I know the best days for Michigan and for America are yet to come. So let's go to work. Let's go get it done, Michigan. Let's unite and fight and elect Bill Schuette as your next governor and John James as the next senator from the great state of Michigan.
All right, everybody, you are watching News Now, part of Fox10Phoenix.com. This podium just popped up out of nowhere. I have no idea where they are taking us, but as soon as I learn some more information, I will let you know.
And where is the lovely Ann McCarthy? She is lounging around at home, the way I'm supposed to be. Tell her I said hello. Same building, much more
All right, everybody, News Now will be signing off here in just a few minutes. Thanks so much for watching this Wednesday, August 8th edition. I just got word that Mike Page will be back tomorrow, so me, Mike, and the rest of the Fox 10 Phoenix crew will see you again tomorrow.
My camera's the reverse camera. Who is got the main camera? Yes, I'm sure. I'm supposed to be paid and Heather asked me questions. Who shoots? Oh. I don't know what the hell's going on. Power that yet?
Thank you.
their lives.